What is going on, everybody? Today we're looking at the Hasbro New York Comic Con exclusive figures from Star Wars, G.I. Joe, and Marvel. So I'm pretty excited about all three of these. So first we'll start with our Star Wars Black Series from Revenge of the Sith. We get Mace Windu versus Darth Sidious. Now, of course, I kind of regret buying this just because, I paid a lot more money to get Mace Windu, which we've had multiple times before, but the figure I really want is this version of Darth Sidious, but I'm sure they're going to release him in single form. So here we get the box design. Of course, you kind of have to hold that angle to really see. So we get Mace Windu fighting with Palpatine there, and you can see Palpatine using the lightning there, and Mace Windu deflecting it against the window there in the background. We can spin around to back, not much going on, just a little bit of the story of the thing going on there. And I did go ahead and cut this open so we could see what it looks like inside. I have yet to open this, so I'm not exactly sure what's going on in here, but I did cut it open there, so let's go and open it up. Okay, so we get, like, in the background, it's kind of hard to see, so we get the window there of Palpatine's office, so of course the window that breaks out, and they sort of fight over here to the side with Palpatine leaned up against this little edge here. But then we get our figures of Mace Windu and Palpatine, so both look pretty cool. Like I said, unfortunately we've had Mace Windu multiple times before, so not really that new or exciting, but I want this version of Palpatine just because I love that look and design for him. Comes with his wrinkled head that he gets from Mace Windu deflecting electricity back at him, and we get the electricity hands and all that, so it just looks pretty decent there overall. And of course more of that background continues there in the back, but hard to really see, but just pretty cool overall for that. Then we'll go over to G.I. Joe with Pythona from Cobra Law, so pretty cool to get her. Nice design. Her body looks really cool. Of course, we'll go through all that. Comes with a bunch of cool, like, little creatures and stuff like that. Just looks pretty decent overall. So another member of Cobra Law. And then from Marvel Legends, we have the Super-Skrull, which of course we've had Super-Skrull in the past. We've had the Build-A-Figure version with all the pieces for the Fantastic Four different designs, and I'll show you that figure comparison. But this time we get the Super-Skrull with the box design that's based more off those old Marvel cards. I believe it's from the early 90s. I don't remember exactly when it's from there, but the Super-Skrull looked exactly like this. So where he has the legs of Johnny Storm, the arm of the Thing, and the extended out arm of Reed Richards. Nothing really shown for Invisible Woman there, but he does have some of her powers. But just cool with this Skrull design. We get 3 different heads there as well, and of course more effects that go onto it. Can spin it to the side there, see a picture of what the Skrull sort of looks like from the comics, and then a nice, like, file card design on the back. So we get the Skrull picture with his name of Clark, is how I always say it, not really sure, but he's 6'9", which is pretty tall, 625 pounds, and of course debuted in Fantastic Four number 18 from 1963 with a little bit of the story there. Not much to it though, but just shows his power levels and everything, again just like the back of the cards had back in the day. So pretty cool for the Super-Skrull. Again, not a necessary figure, but just thought it'd be a fun addition to the collection as well to go with our other Super-Skrull. So again, I'm excited to check all 3 of these out, so let me get them open out of the box and we'll take a look at them together. So we'll start off with our Mace Windu Darth Sidious pack, and of course we got Mace Windu here, which is a Force-sensitive human Jedi that served as Master of the Order alongside Yoda of the Jedi Council. And when Anakin revealed that Palpatine was the Dark Lord of the Sith, Mace attempted to arrest him with the help of Agent Kalor, Saw-Satine, and Kit Fisto, resulting in the death of the other 3, and a duel between the Jedi and Sith Masters pursued, which is what we get represented in this pack. So pretty cool to get Mace Windu. Of course we've had him multiple times. It does look like there's some color changes stuff, so very minor changes going on. We do get a new head here, so we do get this head, of course, looking as only Sam Jackson can, so it looks good. More mouth open there, like probably monologuing during the fight and stuff, but looks good overall for his face. A little bit too shiny, but otherwise, does look like Sam Jackson from the movie, so looks good for him. And of course has his Jedi robe, so we get the darker brown robe over the top, which I always hate, so I'll probably just end up taking off, because that's the thing I hate with Star Wars. And once we get to the Palpatine, I'll really talk about it, that their just clothing is always way too much. It's nice that they have fabric clothing because it allows, for better movements and stuff, less in the way than the plastic, but they just do way too much fabric and you can't get it to look good. It's just so annoying. So every time I get figures like this, I always have to just keep them in their base Jedi robes like this because their actual cloth robes are just way too much. But there we get his more tunic design and more of this. It's like a tan color. It's hard to tell exactly what colors, but tan on the outside there. So we get those like parts coming down and down the sleeves, then more of the cream color there around his neck and stuff. And then we get cream color, more white like pants, and brown boots coming up his feet there to the knees, belt around the waist with all sorts of little pockets, and everything looks good along there and stuff. So it just looks like the Mace one we've had before. So nothing really crazy. Like they said, there is probably going to be color changes with outfit design, but otherwise it's going to be the same. But for movements, the head will twist all the way around and look down that far and up that far. So not a whole lot of range, unfortunately, which is kind of typical for the Black Series figures. The shoulders will come up to 90 with the butterfly back and forth and rotate all the way around. We get the single elbow joint that bends towards 90 with rotation there. And the wrist will twist all the way around and has the flex up and down hand. But of course, with the big cuffs and stuff, you don't really get too much movement. Then we get the ab crunch just at the waist. So crunch back and forth and twist all the way around. Then down to the hips, we can get the legs that will come up, of course, with the clothes stuff, hard to get up there to 90, and then out to the side. And he is still using the older legs, so we get the pin legs for that. Thigh twist, that'll twist all the way around. The double knee joint that will bend up that far to the back, so not too bad. And down to the foot will rock back and forth and twist side to side. So not bad for the movements, but obviously not the best or anything, which is typical for the Black Series, but could be a little better probably, and would be nice to have upgraded knees for him. Now, accessory wise, he does come with an additional head, so we get more of the normal head for him, just the normal Stoke head, which is kind of weird that it's not as shiny as that head, so they need to put whatever like matte paint they did on this on that head as well. So it is nice just to get the additional head there. And of course he comes with his purple lightsabers, to the famed purple lightsaber, so looks good. We'll put this in his hand. So there's Mace with his lightsaber threatening to kill Palpatine. Looks good for that. And of course, like I said, we've had Mace Windu before, so here's the older one, so you can see the color differences in the robes. Of course, face design with the more stoic head, like we got the extra head, so compared to this new head, so at least there is something new with that. The lightsaber is doing stuff, so upgraded like this new lightsaber much more. The hilts look relatively the same still, so not a whole lot different there. But yeah, and then much thicker blade, much brighter purple color and stuff, so like that new blade. So like I said, there is differences. It doesn't really matter to me which one they look about the same. Definitely love the new lightsaber for this new one much more than this older one, but body wise stuff, it doesn't really matter, which means the color of the outfit, everything, the new additional head stuff is always nice, but just nice to get another Mace Windu. And then we also get Darth Sidious, who is Sheev Palpatine. He's a Force-sensitive human that was secretly the Dark Lord of the Sith that raised through the ranks of power in the Galactic Senate to become the Supreme Chancellor of the Republic. But after letting Anakin know he was a Sith Lord, Mace Windu arrived and a battle ensued between the two. Palpatine was disfigured when Mace deflected his lightning back at him. Anakin arrived just in time to cut off Mace's hand to stop him from killing Palpatine, and Palpatine then threw Mace Windu out of the window to his death. So cool to get this version of Palpatine. Always like one of my favorite designs, just because like when I first started collecting Star Wars figures, of course in the older 3.75 inch ones back when Revenge of the Sith came out, this version of Palpatine was one of the first figures I got, and always loved it. It had a little action figure you'd push on his feet and his arm would like move up and down with his lightsaber, so always fun with that. So nice to get it here in a Black Series figure. But like I said, the biggest downside to me of this is the cloth robes, because once again it's just way too much, makes it big and bulky and just takes up way too much of it. Needs to be much more form-fitting on him and everything. Like I said, they just always do way too much material. It's just always too much. But the figure itself does look good. So we get the face there, Ian McDermott, which looks so good. Looks straight out of the movie with that. Just such a great design. Then we get his robe, some more of the maroon colors with this darker, almost brown or dark red maroon, and then just I'd say normal maroon on the top. I'm not sure, really good with color names and stuff, but just with the more red that you see there on top of it. So looks good with that. So love that design. But of course we can take all this off and see his outfit underneath. So he does have like a Jedi outfit underneath, which is pretty nice. So again, in that maroon color, so you can see it there around his neck and see the tunic hanging down. Then he's got black pants on and the wrapped up boots there, which is pretty nice. So overall looks pretty good for Palpatine. Like I said, I like the design. I just wish the robes would fit so much nicer on him than this does. But for movements, the head will twist all the way around. I can look down that far and up that far. So actually pretty decent movements. That is probably the best we've got in Black Series in a while. Then the shoulders will come up to 90 with a butterfly back and forth and rotate around. Then we get the single elbow joint that will bend to 90 there with rotation. The wrist will twist all the way around and has the hinge up and down hand. Then we go to ab crunch again, just going to be at the waist form. So crunch back and forth and twist all the way around. Get the hips that will come up to 90 and out to the side. Thigh twist all the way around. The single knee joint that bends back to 90 there with rotation in it. And then the photo rock back and forth and twist side to side. So decent movements, but not surprising with the single knees and elbows and stuff. About the typical for the newer Black Series figures and everything. Looks good. Like I said, just way too much robe. So annoying dealing with that robe, and trying to get it to look pretty decent on him is hard to do. But very nice overall for the Palpatine. Now we get a number of accessories for him. So first, of course, we get his lightsaber. We're going to just show that. that before I switch over. So we get his lightsaber, so we can put this into his hand. Now he does come, I believe, with the same hands we got with the last Palpatine. That'll show you as well. So he gets his lightsaber, and of course we could put it in the hand together, get him to look up and come flying at our Jedis like he does in the movie, which is crazy. But there we got him with his lightsaber, so always nice to have that. But one thing that's cool about the set, we get the electric hands, but we get not only just electric hands, but we get them with the electricity that's being bounced back at him. So let me switch these hands out for him. So there's Palpatine with the electricity. So again, the electricity is shooting out, and I love how there's like a little curve to it here that curves and then bounces back at him. So we could take like our Mace Windu. Of course, I don't have him posed up for it, but we have him here like deflecting it, and you could actually, if you want to like really get it posed up, like sort of feed the blade through it there, so it's kind of like attached to it there around, and then have it deflecting back, so it's then shooting back and now electrifying Palpatine, shocking him right in the face. That was awesome placement there. And of course, once it does that, it turns him into the old looking man, so we get that additional head as well that we can switch out, so you can then get that head on him as well. So once the lightning's deflected back at him, making him go all wrinkly and everything, as it does for some reason, but looks pretty decent over there. Of course, the lightning's all way too much and stuff. You try and get it work to pose up and everything with Mace standing over him while he's like laying down. But it's cool that they did include, trying to recreate the scene and all that. Now, we have had Palpatine before, especially from Revenge of the Sith, so later in the movie when he turns to this, when he more fights with Yoda and everything. So we get that old face, still a different face design, so nice to get the different versions and everything, but just with the different outfit design. And again, this one has a lot of robes too, but I do like it that it at least has the plastic hood, so it makes it look pretty decent with that design there. But just the two different versions of Palpatine we get from Revenge of the Sith, so pretty nice overall for that. As I mentioned from my first figure, I always like this design, so happy that we got it in a black series. And then moving over to G.I. Joe, we've got Pythona, which is the royal messenger of King Globulus and harbinger of destruction. She is a highly skilled assassin with abilities of stealth and infiltration. Cobra Law and its followers hate humanity, causing her to spearhead their downfall. So she looks cool here. Of course, for me, I've never heard or seen this character before, so I'm not really sure like how good or accurate she is to any sort of her portrayals, but looks pretty good and has a cool figure here. So love how she's got more of the bald head, but she does have the like ponytail design here in the back with the long black hair going down, but nice like pale skin design with a nice pink running around her eyes and like tattoo designs almost. Nice long green earrings there, whatever they're supposed to be. It's hard to really tell if anything. Nice pink lipstick as well. Then we get like a robe on her, which of course I'm having issues with it being in a way. Probably pop her hair off because I think you can switch, pull the hair off there and have like the long sort of robe. It's got a hood there and then robe that will probably take off for the movements because it seems pretty annoying, but it's pretty nice black design there with like the snake skin designs or whatever sort of whatever's going on there with purple on the inside, all nice and tattered at the bottom. So that looks pretty nice, like robe design and all that. Just again, a lot of material, just like the Star Wars Black Series. Too much material here and getting in the way. And then we get her actual outfit there, which looks pretty nice with the purples and the pink colors, and it just looks really cool with the nice, like, I don't know, with almost like webbing sort of design. It's hard to really tell like what this is, but nice details running all through it there. We get her fingers, of course, with the pale skin and black fingernails. More of the outfit design running all the way down to her feet, where she does look like she's barefoot there. At least you see her toe designs, but it's all covered in the purple. But like I said, just an interesting color and design and stuff with that outfit. Looks really good. But for movements, her head will twist all the way around. Of course, with her hair and stuff, you have to get it out of the way, but thankfully that twists around as well. So you get the head twist around, look down that far and up that far. So just a little bit of movements there. The shoulders will come up to 90 and have the butterfly back and forth and rotate all the way around. Get a bicep twist and the double elbow joint that'll bend up that far at least. We get the wrist that'll twist all the way around and hinge up and down for this hand. Then to the ab crunch, so under her chest, crunch back and forth and twist around just a little there. And then at the waist, crunch back and forth and twist all the way around. Then we go down to the hips that come up to 90 and out to the side there. She can go that far, not fully to the splits, but not far off with those drop down hips. Thigh twist all the way around. The double knee joint that'll bend up that far to the back, which isn't too bad. And then we go down to the foot that'll rock back and forth and twist side to side. It's not bad overall for her, and I thought with like her outfit design and everything else, she'd have good movements, but she doesn't seem as good of movements that I expected her to have, but it's still not horrible or anything like that. Now she comes with a number of accessories, so we get an additional head. So this one where she's got more of a mouth open, the fangs with some green on them, so she's got some like venom sort of bite going on there, and a shorter ponytail design, which looks good. So let me switch that out. So there's that head. I did take the robe off just to see the body a little more, so switch that head out. And of course with those ponytails, you can switch them out. So if you want to have that ponytail, the shorter shorter one on this head. You could switch it out if you want as well. Then we get some additional hands, so she's got 2 like grip hand or trigger finger hands, it looks like there. So we get a set of fist hands for her, so nice like fist designs. And then we get some hands with some effects, so we get with her dripping poison out of her fingers, and then this one where she's like expelling a smoke from her hands. So you just get 2 different effect hands with both to look really cool. Then we get a weapon for us. So we get 2 chakrams, so these nice bladed circle weapons with nice like snake designs there for the handles. So let's put these in our hand. So there I posed her up a little with those blades. Don't really know how you use them exactly, but there she has those blades. Then she comes with some additional accessories. I'm not really sure like what everything is and what it all goes with, but we get this big diamond or jewel or gem, whatever, nice like pink color and stuff. Looks pretty good, kind of see-through. You can't see all the way through. It's very like opaque or whatever, so cloudy, but it's just supposed to be a gem there, which is nice. And then we get a bunch of little like creatures and everything that are biomechanical creatures. So we get this thing that almost looks like a clam or something, and it's opening up with all sorts of like grossness like slime and stuff. So with that clam design, this one also kind of looks like a clam as well, with some like tentacles sticking out of like the mouth area, so pretty creepy design for that. So with that there, we get what looks like a little turtle that has a bunch of tentacles coming out of it. So instead of like the normal turtle legs, it's got these extra tentacles and stuff with a pincher there. So again, weird creepy design. Then we get this big mouth creature, whatever it's supposed to be. So it has an underneath sort of pink design and a big mouth with tentacles and stuff. Again, very creepy design for that. And then this one that looks like a bunch of eels, so that's pretty nice. Yeah, a bunch of eel heads and that same color again with the pink and stuff. So I don't know if she like produces these or what's going on with this, but very creepy designs overall for that. But she does look really good with this, so it's nice to get her of course over there and with the rest of our Cobra Law characters of Serpentor and Nemesis, Enforcer, and everything, but she does look really good overall. And our final figure today is the Super-Skrull, also known as Clerk. He's a decorated member of the Skrull army. He was chosen to become the first Super-Skrull and was endowed with the powers of the Fantastic Four. He was then sent to Earth to conquer it after the Fantastic Four had stopped the Skrull's previous invasion, but he was more than a match against the Fantastic Four. But Mr. Fantastic discovered that his powers were artificial and that he was able to build a device that would jam them. So of course he's a Skrull, so he has the Skrull shape-shifting abilities, as well as super strength and durability from the Thing, pyrokinesis and flight from the Human Torch, invisibility and force fields from the Invisible Woman, and plasticity and elongation from Mr. Fantastic. So it's nice to get an updated version of the Super-Skrull here, of course sharing a lot of stuff from the Build-A-Figure we had before from years ago, but it looks pretty good with the design, nice brighter colors, all that sort of stuff with the Skrull head there, nice green design. Of course we get like teeth there, bear and stuff. Love how it has some like pointy fangs there, some nice red eyes, pointy ears, and of course the black like head covering that they typically have, and then the normal Skrull outfit. So we get the purple outfit with the black like down the center and onto the shoulders stuff. That design pretty typical always for the Skrulls. But then in this form, just straight out of the box as it came, we get the Fantastic Four design. So we get the elongated arm of Mr. Fantastic, we get the rock-like arm of the Thing, and then the lower half body of a Human Torch. So it looks pretty good. Look at love, especially like the black line design is very classic for that overall. So it looks pretty good. Like I said, unfortunately there's no representation of Invisible One with this. Not exactly sure why, but like I said, it was going off that old card from the 90s where it did look exactly like this. No visual representation of her on the figure. But for its movements, his head will twist all the way around, look down that far and up that far. So pretty decent movements there in the head. Then we get the shoulders that come up to 90 and will rotate all the way around. Of course, kind of getting stuck on his outfit there. Bicep twist and the double elbow joint that bends there pretty much all the way up on itself. And the wrist will twist all the way around and then flex back and forth. Then we get the ab crunch, get the ab crunch there, back and forth, twist all the way around at the waist. The hips will come up there, not all the way up to 90, but not bad. Out to the side, thigh twist all the way around. The double knee joint, which was really stiff, but could get it to bend that far to the back. And then we go down to the shin twist there in the middle of leg, and the foot flex back and forth and twist side to side. So good movements overall for him, or at least for the most part. Of course, using older body parts and stuff, probably from the original one with the pin elbows and stuff, but the lower half here of the body has pinless, so that's why it was real stiff, unfortunately. But looks good overall, and like I said, especially when I bring the older one, the colors and everything looks so much better on this new one. But we do get some additional additional heads. So if you want to have different head besides like the yellow one, we like the standard like angry scroll head there. So just the mouth closed, that version. Then we get one with the grinning teeth there. So that's a nice face like that design. So I like this one or the one we have on it already. Now, if you don't want to show some of the powers, you'll have to stick with Human Torch, unfortunately, no matter what. But you can at least switch out the arms to basic arms. So we get the arms for both sides. So you have those if you don't want to have the Fantastic Four powers there. And with those other hands, we also get some grip hands there. So you get those. Don't know why we need the grip or anything, but we get that. And then for the thing like we got with the original Super-Skrull, we also get a flame effect that we can put on the arm. So again, combining some of the powers with things with the flame effects of Johnny Storm is pretty cool. So we can put this flame on his hand there. So that's sort of like a flaming punch now with thing rock-like hand. So that is pretty cool. So you get that effect on him as well. So overall, nice design there for our Super-Skrull. Now, of course, we've had other Super-Skrulls before. So like I said, the old Build-A-Figure design, again, that this shares a lot of stuff with. So we had mostly the same base by the head switch out again with the new head design. Definitely love this newer one with the brighter green colors. And again, the purple change. Love the purple more on this newer one. But then we get the Mr. Fantastic arm, of course, showing the Invisible Woman powers mixed in there as well with the elongation. And then the Thing hand. And again, this one also came with the flame effect that you could put on it. And it just had the basic legs as opposed to, like I said, the lower half of the Johnny Storm legs. So unfortunately, you always have to have those on him because we don't have anything else to replace it with. So we had that Super-Skrull. And then more recently, we got the Super-Skrull with more of the Illuminati powers. So we had the Black Bolt, Iron Man, Doctor Strange, Mr. Fantastic there with the elongated arm once again and stuff. So all those sort of powers combined into this version of the Super-Skrull. But overall, really like this one, especially compared to this old Build-A-Figure. Love this one. It's a nice upgrade and everything. Just thinks there's no Invisible Woman represented in the powers. Well, that's going to be it for our Hasbro New York Comic Con exclusive figures. From Star Wars Black Series, we got the Mace Windu versus Darth Sidious. From G.I. Joe Classified Series, we got Pythona. And from Marvel Legends, we got the Super-Skrull. So all 4 figures are pretty cool. Once again, kind of disappointing to get another Mace Windu, but at least he's a little bit different with different color design, this new head design and all that, new lightsaber, which is cool. And of course, another version of Palpatine with the lightning effect bouncing back at him is pretty fun. Pythona looks awesome. And again, another member of Cobra Law is always cool. And then the updated version of the Super-Skrull, which I really like a lot as well. So let me know what you thought of all 4 figures down in the comments, and if you enjoyed my review, let me know with that like and hit the subscribe button to see more. But I want to thank you all for watching. I hope you all stay awesome out there, and I'll see you in our next review.